Join Mark Lewis and R.O.A. for an exclusive interview with Brandan Narrell, lead singer for Texas-based group Anchored. Real rock and roll news. From the legends of rock, you found rockonamerica.live. We're bringing rock and roll to America and beyond. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe.
In the heart of Dallas, Texas, a southern rock sensation was born in 2009. Anchored, a hardcore and metal band, has been rocking the music scene, playing countless shows in their hometown, and sharing the stage with notable bands such as For the Fallen Dreams, All Shall Perish, In Heart's Wake, North Lane, Thy Art Is Murder, and Hand of Mercy. Their vocalist Brandan Narrell is a force to be reckoned with, charming audiences with his powerful performances. Anchored released a live DVD and tour footage titled Good Times, Bad Timing that truly encapsulates their onstage energy. Their album Beneath the Surface has been making waves, especially the hit single Throwing Down. This track features Snoop Dogg. So stay tuned, because next up is Anchored vocalist Brandan Narrell with Mark Lewis.
This is Mark with Rock of America magazine, and today I have the extreme pleasure to interview a gentleman who is making his mark in the rock and roll world and making a significant impact step by step and pretty quickly on the overall, if you will. Without further ado, is Brandan from Anchored. How are you doing, Brandan?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I am doing good. So, yeah, we get a chance to talk about some things we'll leave off the record. And if anybody wonders, this is off record, so you don't have to worry about it. It's not important for the interview. But, it gave me a little bit more of a perspective about you. And what you do is so that people understand you are heart and soul into this. So this is not just a passing fad or a thing for you for what you do with your music. And let's kind of go back from the beginning with you with your musical influences. And you're telling me you grew up in Europe, and you're from Alaska. So let's kind of go through all that. With all that said, what were your musical influences growing up when you were a kid?
Basically, I listened to everything from Bon Jovi, Poison, Motley Crue, Rat, Sepultura, Pantera, Metallica, Iron Maiden. I mean, it was kind of like the cross between the two genres. I mean, I was a metalhead, still am at heart, but I also like the melodic, flashy stuff as well. So, my first concert I'll never forget was at Brixton Academy in London, England, and it was Sepultura with Paradise Lost. And now one of my main goals is to actually play at Brixton Academy, which it changed the name, now it's the Carling Academy. But that's one of my goals, and I think that melody and heavy stuff can coexist, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. I think the Sex Pistols or something. I know a lot of punk bands have played Brixton too.
That's why, dude. I mean, that's the home of punk rock. I really got into punk rock, to be honest, but I was always like the metal kid, or trying to find my mom's hairspray to make my hair about 10 feet tall.
How did that work out?
It did not work out well.
And so, we were talking about, let's take everybody kind of musical history, and then we'll catch up to where you're at now and with the new album and everything. As you started playing, kind of take us all on the road in the history of you and, maybe one of the early bands you're in, and, how you got from there to where you're at now.
Yeah. The first band I was ever in, in the States, being in Texas.
Oh, you can talk about over in Europe, too, wherever you want to start at.
Well, in Europe, I was in high school, and I had a band called Furiacs. It was the worst name of all time, but our principal was named Mr. K, and he was, very mean. So we did it as a stab to him, just called it Furiacs, because K backwards was Yak.
Right.
We toured all over Europe, Germany, Ireland, Scotland, England, and, we got to play on some big festival shows. And I was 14 years old, so it was kind of crazy. I was extremely green, and I was getting, passed by the first 5 years. Then I got a call from Vinny and Dime from Pantera, which was kind of crazy because, you know, I grew up listening to them. I saw them at Monsters of Rock at Donington, and I saw them at Bushman Academy as well. But I got a call from them because, you know, Pantera had taken its final hiatus, and they were forming a band called Damage Plan. And so they called me out to audition, and a bunch of crazy stuff went down with Dime, you know, like at his house, partying and having fun. And they really took me in as a friend. They treated me like I was an equal, which I thought was amazing. You know, because I mean, it's the almighty Pantera, you know.
Right.
And looking through that glass, I mean, if you've ever seen the movie Rockstar, it truly felt like that. I mean, Dime even took it upon himself to, like, print out my lyrics that I've written for the song, and he got me a bottle of Sky and put it on ice, and, you know, like, had mixers and everything was set up. And I looked through that glass, and I could care less about any of the stuff that like, booze-related and all that, because I mean, that's what Pantera was known for, you know, partying their ass off, but they were also known for the power groove. And I'm looking through through this little glass at Vinny and Dime, and they are just going off, like still being like little kids about it, you know, like being excited, you know, like it's new music and it's just awesome, you know. And I think that was a big change for me, just in where I wanted to go, because Dime sat me down right before he left for that horrible tour, in my opinion, because of what happened.
Yeah.
But he told me, he said, man, you didn't get the gig because you didn't suck. He's like, you're a singer. You know, he's a lead metal. He always told me, just lead metal, and you have soul, so you need to sing. And Vinny actually, you know, referred me for the driving pool thing, but it was way too soon after Dave had passed. But that always stuck with me from Dime, saying, you know, you got metal in your heart, but you've got a voice and you've got soul, and that's your niche. You know, like we were the metal guys and the power groove and all that, but you need to go out and sing. And so I really took what he said about 4 years later, because, you know, I formed a band called Advent, and we went across, you know, regional tours and across a lot of the U.S., but not full national level. And it was more like a Breaking Benjamin, drowning pool type thing. But at the end of that, you know, it was just like it was like Dime tapping me on the shoulder constantly and saying, dude, you're not doing what you should be doing. You need to be singing. And so I locked myself in a room for a month, and I wrote the album for Anchor, and obviously had some help with some good friends, and literally, like, I mean, it was in 3.5 weeks, I had 43 songs, and so Dime was right. You know, like, typically it takes a long time to write a record, but there was so much built up in the heart that it was very fast, and next thing I knew, I was on a plane in Montreal, Canada. I recorded the record in 3 weeks, and so in under 2 months, you know, start like inception to finished product, I mean, that's pretty quick, you know. It's not bragging in any way, because it literally took 10 years for me to get the balls to do it.
Right.
You know, now I'm watching to tell me, hey, you should do this, you know. And so Anchor has been plugging away ever since. I mean, I came home with a CD, and I sent it off to some friends, and people actually liked what I was wanting to do. Because I mean, it's kind of hard to leave metal.
Oh, hey, Brandon, I need you to move the mic back a little bit on the phone wherever you're at. It's getting a little bit fuzzy.
All right, how about this?
Perfect.
Cool. But, you know, it's hard to leave metal, like, performing-wise. I mean, you never, like, once you have metal in your blood,
it's always there.
But, you know, like, performing-wise, like, and trying to get people to understand, like, what I'm doing now, like, it was taking a risk. But I'm glad I did, because I'd much rather make people smile now. And now, anytime I'm in a city where a band is doing a cover of Walk or Bodies or whatever, I'm down, you know. But it's just more of, I've kind of settled down, I guess, but gotten more rowdy, if if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now you care about certain things in life, like family and friends, and after what happened with Dime, I mean, you know, that affected a lot of people, and it definitely affected me because I look at him as family, and I just don't want to really associate with people that want to cause harm and bad things. I'd much rather it be good times, you know.
Tell everybody what Anchored sounds like, because to me, when I first heard it, and there's a complete difference. I can see what you're talking about. There's another song that's on YouTube right now, because I don't have a copy of the album or anything, and we need to get a copy of the album when available to get to me so we can review it. But because usually most of the time when I do the interviews, I get a chance to listen to the album first. But the two videos I found very, very diverse. One does definitely what you had mentioned, have the Uncle Cracker influence to it. But the other one, Dirty in Texas, and there's something else that's going on with that, and I'm going to let you explain it, where there's a name change on this and some lyrical content change on it for a specific reason. We were talking about somebody that we both mutually know, basically. But there is a feel in the vibe that I could put you guys on the road with Texas Hippie Coalition, among other things. With Dirty in Texas, and it's just a great ripped up in-your-face rock and roll song. I mean, there's no question of it. I mean, it has, and you can see the influence that Vinny and Dime had on you in that, and you can see what I would classify as, you know, it's never been really mentioned this, but I think it's probably fair to say because of its own deal. But for all the newer bands in the last 20-some-odd years that came out of Texas, it has that Texas, let's put it this way, the newer school Texas rock feel to it, where it's a little gritty, it's a little dirty, it's not country or redneck, it's just down-home Texas, if you will, feel and flair to it. Is that fair to statement to make?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my take on it is, you know, there's bands all across the world that can do, you know, a southern style, like, you know, southern rock, whatever. But when you live in the South, you just kind of, it's like metal. It's in your blood. And so therefore, when we do it, it's not faking it. You know, like, it's not trying to sound like somebody else. I mean, it's just what we do.
But when you live in Texas, that's a whole special different world down there, too, though. Because
I mean, you know, it's the same for New York or California. You know, like, I mean, we played both places several times, and you know, they respect it because they can tell that it's not like cookie cutter fake. You know, it's not like American Idol where you have to go and you do a bunch of covers to prove that you're a great singer. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, hey, these guys are from the South. We literally ride four-wheelers, beat people up, and drink a lot of beer, and then we hit record.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing fake about what we do. I'm actually surprised that you used the line Texas Rock. That's what we got labeled as, and I'm very proud to say that we are, because I mean, we truly are a Texas rock band.
Well, you know, nobody's really used that, but if you go back to the early ZZ Top, and you know, I would like to go back to Buddy Holly because he was from up there in Lubbock, but it's not exactly the same thing. But if you really go back to ZZ Top, and you listen to some of the stuff that Pantera did, and you listen to the Texas Hippie Coalition, and you listen to some other stuff that's come specifically out of Texas, you know, even Steve Ray Vaughan for blues put a Texas flair in there. There really is. There is a Texas sound, just like there's for blues when you're acoustic, there's a definite Delta sound, and when it went up to Chicago, there was a definite Chicago sound. And I mean, if you want to get into to classify a little bit further, Detroit had a very, very significant sound for music as well, between Motown and everything from Mitch Ryder to Bob Seger to Ted Nugent, which is a little bit different too, you know. But there is definitely something about Texas it's only a select number of bands. It's not every band that comes out of Texas that does that. But the select number of bands have that very, very, I don't know what else to call it, you know, except the Texas sound, because it's different. And you can hear that in specific bands that come out of Texas. That you
well, it doesn't matter if you're playing, you know, rock, country, blues, even classical, who knows? I mean, there's probably some little hillbilly that can play the hell out of some classical music, but it doesn't matter what type of music it is, there's always that little bit of southern love.
Yeah.
You know? And the only way that you can get it is by spending some time down, you know, like in the South, or, I mean, you might have it in your blood, you never know, but it's just one of those things that, like, we don't take it over the top, even though our first single was Dirty in Texas.
Right.
I mean, if you listen to the rest of the record, it doesn't sound anything like Dirty in Texas. And that song was actually a joke. Like, at first, you know, I talked to one of my good friends, Jeff Bird, who he and I co-wrote the song together. And I just told myself, I want to write a song about Texas, but I also want it to be like a theme song. He's like, are you kidding me? You want to write a theme song for Texas? And I'm like, well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a big state, got a lot of heart, and, you know, they'll either love it or hate it. And we wrote it in 2 days, and sure enough, I started playing it around for people, and they didn't laugh. They actually, like, grew to it and dug it. So it's kind of funny that, you know, like a joke song actually ended up being the song that put us on the map, per se. And then, obviously, I told you, you know, before you hit record that we got the Dallas Cowboys now, which is an extreme honor, and it's not that it was a joke song. I don't want it to be taken as it was like just a full joke song. I think that it was a song that I would never think that I'd be singing on, or that I would have written. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so, but it was the one song that finally, after all these years, because I mean, I've been doing music since I was like 5, you know, it was the one song that actually hit way more hearts than, you know, any, you know, type song, because it had words that had meaning. People know that I'm not lying, because every single word that is in that song is true. Like, if you've ever been to Texas or you live in Texas, you would know that all those, I mean, everything that I say in that song happens on a daily basis.
I lived down in Texas for a brief period of time, but I lived down there for a little over a year.
So what would you say? Would you say that I hit the nail on the head?
Basically. And I want to know where you got that girl from. That girl was absolutely hot.
Well, that happens to be from the Clubhouse, which is Pantera Strip Bar in Dallas. And, you know, blonde hair, big upper chest, you know how that rolls. I mean, that's a typical Southern belle.
Yeah.
She has 2 bells, though.
We will leave that there.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go through the album and give the title, let everybody know where they can get it from, and do you want to go track by track on the album, or do you want to take 3 or 4 songs and go there?
I mean, what do you want me to describe, like what they're about?
Yeah, you know, any feelings or thoughts on it? Do you want to go track by track, or do you want to just take 3 or 4 songs? It depends on how much time you have and, you know, what you really want to do. I always like to leave this up to the option for everybody.
Okay. Obviously, you know what Dirty in Texas is about. Savior, which is track 2, is potentially going to be our 3rd single, and that's basically just about like a sexual type thing, where, you know, kind of like the one person dominates the other.
Yeah.
Next song, We Had Everything, is simply, I mean, the title says it all. You can throw away, you know, a lot of stuff because of drugs or booze. I mean, yeah, like, kind of do everything in moderation, because you'll look back and say, hey, we had everything. It's better to say we have everything, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Song number 4 would be By Your Side. That's a song that I wrote years ago, and it's basically about being that guy that really loves this one girl. Might be, you know, the girl that you don't think you could ever get.
Yeah.
And, you know, kind of like that movie with John Cusack where, you know, you've got the stereo hanging.
Yeah, Say Anything.
Yeah, that movie. And that like the head cheerleader. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But if you do, like, the whole meaning behind that song is showing that you will, like, you're that loyal person. You will always be right by their side. You know, like, you're not going to stray. They always go for the bad guy, you know? So you're the one that's not going to stray. And then number 5 would be Last Night, which is the new single, and that's another play on relationships. It's the good and the bad. It's kind of like right or left. Some guys want the girl that wants to go out for ice cream and have kids, and some guys want the girl that does shots of Jaeger and will get on her knees, you know?
Yeah.
Which the video portrays that very well. Devin DeHaven directed that, and he's a phenomenal director. He also, well, I'll get to that in a second, but you can get our new live DVD. Bad Timing is number 6. That's pretty straightforward. Everybody has a really bad day every once in a while, and that's just like your timing was the worst. You know, like when you're at that one point in your day where it's like, dude, I don't need this right now.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
absolutely.
Song number 7 is Save Me, and like I said earlier, that I locked myself in a room for 3.5 weeks. It was the second to last song that I wrote on the record. Last Night was actually the last song, and that's how I got its title, Last Night. But, you know, I played off some stuff lyrically, but it was the last night of writing. But Save Me was the second to last, and it was literally at that point, that breaking point of, I haven't seen the sun for 7 days, and it's one of the lines in it. And my wife was, you know, like saying, hey, you need to hang out with us, and, you know, like her and my daughters and all that, but I had to get my job done, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, if you hear the lyrics, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, like things like, I hate my girl for leaving, can somebody send me a new one? She never left. It's kind of a metaphor, but it was like, you know, she'd open the door and be like, hey, it's dinner, and I couldn't leave, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I hate my girl for leaving. Can somebody send me a new one, you know? Song number 8, all that is simply all about, you know, seeing good times, feeling the bad, but still having that one person in your life that is all that, you know, like, you're all that I've ever wanted, you're all that I need, you know, that type of deal. Song number 9 is a song called You, and that is actually a very personal song. I mean, I wrote it years ago, right about the time that I wrote By Your Side, but it's about, you know, like having that one person. It doesn't have to necessarily be a girl, you know, it could be a parent, in my case, you know, that I didn't meet for a very, very long time, and it just very deep song that I don't even want to go into it, but I mean, if you listen to it, you'll kind of get what I'm saying.
Right.
Song number 10 was Mistress, and that was after my wife, like in a joking way, you know, like she's always stressed out about me, you know, like she's not a bitch, if you know what I mean. She's more like, she's worried about me having to be in a different city every day, and I mean, that's why the lyrics are like, you know, down in Hollywood, she's been misunderstood, like she's always fighting for me. That's kind of like a theme song for women across America that have to deal with a guy that's always gone, but still loves her. And then the last song on the album was My World, and at the writing of that, I mean, it was literally like I was in my own little world, and there could have been some things that you had heat to involved, and kind of like where you see the clouds split the sky. You know, this is my world, and you're all uninvited. That line actually came from nobody had heard anything yet, and so like you couldn't listen. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like a play on words, instead of you're all invited, which everybody always is. You were uninvited at that time because it wasn't good enough for your ears to hear. You know what I mean? Right. Like if I really care about what I put out and what I put my name on, and I take care of, I don't even look at them as fans, I call them friends. So to all the friends out there, I want them to hear something great. And so I just thought I would do a little play on words. Of course, you're all uninvited.
Got you.
That was the whole album summed up pretty fast, huh?
No, that's good. You did good. Hey, I never put a time frame on this. It's just I try to work with everybody else's time frame, just because I understand that when I've done an extensive amount of traveling on my own, and I understand exactly. I was going to make a comment about that, about the songs that you wrote, where, your wife is, is worrying because, unless you really do that extensively, and there's somebody at home or there are people at home that care about you, they may not worry about you, but it's not so much a worry, it's a concern because while you're sitting out there going, yeah, I'll be fine. How many times have you had this conversation? Honey, I'll be fine. Everything's good. Don't worry about me. We're fine. We'll get into El Paso at such and such. And then from there we go to Las Cruces and everything's going to be fine. No problem. And they're sitting there going, because they know the same thing that that the tire may blow out or there may be a really, really horrendous accident that's out there, or something happens, and all the different ramifications and things that can happen, and while you're sitting out there, and I've been sitting out there, and we're traveling and different things, and we're just like, yeah, I want to get this done, I want to go home, I enjoy doing it, but I want to go home. They're sitting there going, I just hope everything is going to be okay, and it's not a bitch thing. It's just. It's not really a worry thing so much as you let it be at the level of concern out there for somebody. And again, unless somebody is also on that end of it, it's really hard to understand. Unless somebody's been on either end of it, it's hard to understand the whole deal.
Right, and that's why I use the name Mistress instead of Mistress.
Yeah.
A lot of girls always think that their guy is going to, go off with somebody else and all that. So yet again, another play on words. But mid-stress, meaning she is worried about her guy.
Yeah.
Like simply, cut and dry, that's all it is. She's worried about her guy being in Hollywood and then being in another city. Like in the chorus, it talks about no phone call. And you and I talked, before we hit record that like the cell phone signal and stuff like that, you can't always get a phone call out. It's just little things I try to add into real life that it might not necessarily be, like there might be some lady that is married to an oil field guy, or like a Marine, for example, and he's not able to call and she's stressed completely out because she's worried about him,
Yeah, oh yeah.
And that's what that song is truly about. Like, it gets like a misconception, I think, a lot. Like, where it's me saying, like, this live, normally I'll say, just because that's all the ladies like to piss off their men. Just so people will actually pay attention. That has nothing to do with what the song is about. People, like new faces, you have to grab them. And so when I say that, they're like, oh, yeah, all right, I'll listen to this. And that's kind of like the name of the album, Listen to This. My biggest thing was, by doing music since I was like 5, all you ever really want, whether you think you suck or you think you are the next Steven Tyler, all you want somebody to do is listen to your stuff. And, it comes across as a stupid name, and frankly, it might be, but in my mind, it's not. Because that's what I wanted everybody to do after I gave music 20 years, 25 years of my life. I just want you to listen to what I just came up with. And if you don't like it, don't listen to it again. But at least give it one good listen. And people like you, you give me a lot of time where I can explain, where everything comes from, so hopefully that will help people to at least hear it, I'm not asking them to be, the number one fan or anything like that. Because as far as I'm concerned, everybody is equal. And as far as listening and fan-wise goes, we're all friends and we're all going to do this together.
Let's talk about Rowdy in Texas, and let's talk about the DVD too. Which way do you want to go first?
Well, we can start with the DVD.
Okay.
I actually just watched it last night, the final copy, which I'm very, very proud of. And that kind of goes along with what we have been talking about this whole time, like good people, and Spokane, Washington is one of those cities that is very hungry for good music. You know, they're not, you know, like New York City, they're not, you know, LA, even Dallas for that matter. You know, Spokane, Washington is up in the northwest, tucked away in this beautiful, beautiful place. But they are metalheads, they are rock fans, they are, I mean, just music in general. And so we went up there the first time, we played, it was sold out, but it wasn't full of capacity. There's a difference. So when I saw how cool they were, I promised the radio station and I promised all the bands up there that we would come back with cameras. Like if we ever do a live DVD, we're going to do it in Spokane because they know, like they get it, they know what's going down. And so we booked our second show and it sold out to max capacity. They actually turned away like 700 people at the door, and it was crazy. We brought 13 cameras from Hollywood and like a film crew. I mean, it was amazing. So we filmed the entire show, start to finish, nonstop. There's no like editing or any of that because I believe in being real with people. Yeah, like what we play, even though like some people might say, hey, you know, the guitars could come up here, the drums could be louder here, you know, I don't touch any of that. I want the people to hear exactly what we do because we're not fake by any means. If it would have been a bad show, it'd still be released. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
That's how I do all my interviews. If I screw up on here, I don't edit anything down. It runs as is because it's real.
Yeah. And, you know, like, who knows? I mean, there might be some, I didn't really hear any, but I don't know, there could be some dumb notes on the thing, but I don't care, because if I put something out that I say, I write the word live on, and it's fixed in any way, then I don't believe it. And if I don't believe it, I know that all my friends are not going to believe it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, we did a whole thing, and like a live album's going to come with it. We're actually doing like a box set. It's called Good Times, Bad Timing, which was kind of like a stab at the music industry right now. It's bad timing for any band out there right now. But the live album, like all the sound was mixed by Jay Baumgartner, you know, who has done Linkin Park, Papa Roach, No Doubt. I mean, like huge, huge band. Great guy. It was a pleasure to work with him. But then the special thing, besides, you know, all the live footage, is there's a full-blown, like, movie/documentary that they filmed over the past year and a half. We had a camera crew following us. It's called The Story, which it kind of lets you know, like, where we came from, how everything came about, like, funny backstage stuff, road footage, you know, there's some live stuff as well. There's interviews, the making of last night. There's all the videos that we've done, and you know, it's more bang for your buck because like we're not in this to rip anybody off. I mean, it's literally like 3.5 hours of material, or I think that it's going to go for like $30, something like that. But it might even go lower. I have no clue, but it's something very special to us. You know, like, I mean, 3.5 hours of the last year and a half, but also, in a way, like a lifetime, you know, which I think is extremely cool. Now, part of that is going to be, actually, we just released that day before yesterday, a live clip from that DVD, which we can't release the Buck Cherry cover of Crazy Bitch, because obviously, like, we didn't write the song. So we gave that away for free on YouTube. So if you want to check it out, it's official Anchored. You know, just Google Anchored Crazy Bitch, and it'll pull right up. But then on the 4th of July, we're headlining the Freedom Festival, co-headlining the Freedom Festival for all the soldiers and their families, and frankly, the entire town. It's a free show. They're expecting 100,000 people. This show. Last year there's 85,000, so this year they're expecting a little more because it's growing. It's at Fort Hood Stadium, because like I finally got to show them a little bit of oomph. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The DVD will come out, I think it's July 25th, and that's the same day that we kick off the Volby tour. It's going to be Volby, us, and a band called Cold, which I'm sure a lot of people know Cold.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a great tour. I mean, we're doing America, Canada, and then I don't know if we're actually going to be on the Mexico City dates just because we have some other festivals. But if we can, we will. But the DVD will come out, and we're going to be on tour until September 5th on that one.
Do you want to give out some of the dates?
What?
For the tour, do you want to give out some of the dates?
Well, I know that we're coming to Vegas.
Well, I know that, but I mean, besides here, do you want to give some of the dates out and drop them out to everybody? First, let's say the first 5 or 6 of them.
Well, that's a list, man, to be honest.
Okay.
I know the tour kicks off in Buffalo, New York on the 25th. But, I mean, you can obviously check getanchored.com or Facebook. You know, you just search for Anchored Music, and you can find us. We are true Facebook whores. We could have a lot of people run our stuff, but we like to do it ourselves. So every time you post on our Facebook, you're guaranteed to talk to a band member. We like to really be hands-on because we know who the heartbeat is, and we don't ever forget that. So I'm not going to tell you some dates that I don't know for sure. I know that it does kick off in Buffalo, New York, and then, I mean, it goes everywhere. You know, I think there's like 6 or 7 dates in Canada and pretty much all of the United States.
Okay, as long as they can go to the website and get it. And what's the Facebook?
Facebook is Anchored Music.
Okay. And do you guys do Twitter?
Yep. And see if that's the beauty of getanchored.com. If you go to getanchored.com,
all the RSS feeds are there.
Yep. All the little social media sites. If you look in the top right corner, it has our MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I mean, everything.
Cool.
Make it very convenient for everybody to go and give us a shot, you know.
And I'm gonna let you do it. By the way, really quick, do you want to give the story, because we didn't do this, this is kind of going backwards, but it's actually kind of a cool story where the name Anchored comes from.
And I also forgot to tell you about Rowdy in Texas.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's do that first.
All right, Rowdy in Texas is going to be a special Dallas Cowboys edition. I'm actually going down there tomorrow to record the vocals for it. It's going to be the same music as Dirty in Texas, but it's like the lyrics are going to be changed for football and for Dallas Cowboys, America's team, which is a complete honor. So look for that. They've never had a theme song ever, and we're in negotiations now of how far they're willing to take it, and we'll let them do whatever they want with it. But Dallas Cowboys is a big thing. So if you hear Rowdy in Texas, I don't know if it's going to get a lot of radio love just because it's basically a straight up deal with Dallas Cowboys. But if you hear Rowdy in Texas, it's us, and it's for as far as I'm concerned, the best football team in the country. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so look for that for sure. And then the name Anchored comes from, I was born in Anchorage, Alaska, and the guy that I look up to more than anybody in the world is my grandfather. He's still alive, but in his honor, his favorite color is red, so I added an EV. So it's like Anchor Red, and in his honor, that's why there's the red. All of our cases, like our touring cases, road cases, they're all red. He actually got to see us at House of Blues in Dallas, and we're talking about one of the toughest guys in the world, like an ex-U.S. Navy vet, I mean, just, they don't make him like they used to, and he even teared up just in being proud of what we're doing. So that was definitely a highlight of the whole career side,
Nice.
But that's where the name came from. My home state, one guy in their family that they base who they want to be off of, and he definitely, he started with nothing and ended up with everything as far as I'm concerned, and that's the way that I want to be, and everything might not be, $1 million in the bank, it could, just for me, it could be respect and having family and friends and being able to look in the mirror and be proud of who you're looking at,
Oh, absolutely. And I'm going to let you take us out of here when we're done. Hang on the phone for a second. But I'm going to let you take us out of here. What I like to do, Brandon, when I do this, is you take a couple, 3, 4, 5 minutes, as long or short as you want to go. There's no right or wrong on this. This is not me leading you in any question or anything. It's just simply anything that you'd like to say, anything also that you never had the opportunity to say. If you'd like to preface it before you get to this first, if there's anything that you've never had a chance to in the interview you'd like to say, we can go ahead and start out with that. But for this last part of it, I've had everything from musicians tell spouses and family I love you, to a couple of guys who are very, very prophetic with words of wisdom, to generally, for the most part, it's somebody who just, I want to thank this person, I want to thank that person. There's no right or wrong, so I'm going to let you take us out of here. Like I said, when we're done, hang on the phone for a second, but take us out of here.
Well, basically, when it comes to thanks, I'd like to thank anybody that ever gives us their time, actually really listens to the words and listen, if we move you in any way, thanks, because it's not the easiest thing to do nowadays. Obviously, I have daughters, so I got to thank Taylor and Bren. My wife, Marcy. I'm actually having my first son in about a week and a half.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks to him for hanging in there, literally. My band, of course, my crew, all that. But more importantly, to all the bands out there that are trying to get into this nasty, nasty business, don't ever change who you are, and don't ever sell out. And by sell out, I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about change who you are. Just don't ever, ever, ever change. Tour, and believe in what you do. And be proud of the guys that stand by you. Because if you're a singer and you have LSD, I'm a singer. And there's none of that.
Oh, yeah. You want me to explain that, exactly what that is?
Yeah, lead singer.
Disease, yeah.
You can sing a cappella all night long, and you're not going to have, all those people that are in that club that night there for you if you're just singing a cappella. You have to have your band, but more so when I say you have to have your band, you want to have that, Motley Crue type vibe. Even though they might have sounded like cats and dogs. I've been lucky. Our band has never had a fight in a year and a half, but, it was a bunch of guys that really believed in what we're doing, and we're all kind of the same. But you have to respect, even if you're the drummer, respect your singer, respect your guitar player, bass player. Just, you only get one shot. Eminem, even though I'm not a huge rap fan, I actually respect him. But he had it right, where you only get one shot. And so you have to make sure that you're with the people that you want to be with, and that you're very proud of what you do. And you go through, it's literally a storm. We have an ongoing joke about the storm, but it is. It's a storm that you go through together. Or a war. It's kind of like the Alamo. Not to use a Texas thing, but 300 people against thousands and thousands. They might have lost, but they still are remembered today. And that's what you should try to reach for in a band atmosphere. And success, you can judge that. I've been from the bottom of the barrel all the way to almost, not necessarily the top, but it depends on what you think the top is. And I've played in front of 60,000 people, and I've played in front of 6. And just take it from me that you just be you, and don't necessarily care about all that other shit, because all it's going to do is dig you in a hole and make you something that you're not. So, thanks to everybody that has supported me me and take those words and do whatever you want with them. But trust me, I've been there. I'm in it right now. I get to wake up every day on a tour bus, but that does not mean that I'm going to get to do that this time next year. So never give up. Always work hard, and don't forget who your friends and family are, and especially the fans, which in my case are friends. So there you go.
And I will say interview over.